In a computer, when you are in GUI, events are some action, something triggers on my screen based on the user interaction. Let's assume we are all in GUI. We are not in CUI. In CUI, every action is happening based on commands. We are not giving commands to a computer. We are performing only via certain action. Certain triggering is happening on your machine as soon as I performed an action. One best example for event is click event. If it is radio button or checkbox, checked event. So mouse, if you take left click, right click, even mouse hold continuously, if you have a long press, those are all events. Even in mobile touch tap, drag, place it. Even your voice recognition in mic is an event. So events are some action. Based on the action, something was gonna to happen on my application, on my machine. So same thing if I perform on my HTML element. So let us take button. Depend upon the control. So we have so many HTML elements. It's also, we cannot, if you want, I can list a few, but the list is very long. So if you take, do you have 10 elements or 20 elements in HTML? Can you tell me how many HTML elements are there? I'm asking to everyone. How many HTML elements are there? Countless. So for each HTML element, multiple events can be arised. So whenever an event is triggered on any of my element, any of my control, I need to perform the respective event handler. Event handler is nothing but method where I'm gonna to write the code. So with the code, some action is gonna to perform. Again, think in developer's point of view. When I click, I want to perform addition. When I check this radio button, I want background color to change. When I double tap, it has to zoom in. When I do a single tap, my camera has to turn, click a picture. So depend upon the application, event remains same. Action might be, might differs. Same mobile, if you open a camera and if you go for a single tap, what is that? Image is getting recorded. So same mobile, if you are in different application, if you are in a browser, after typing a URL, when you do a single tap, it is going to server and it is loading the page. If you tap on a WhatsApp message, the message is getting enlarged with respective to contact, from tile to enlarged tab. So event remains same. Action is gonna to be different, depend upon the application. Those actions are handled with event handler. Event handler, when it comes to programming, it is nothing but methods. From yesterday, we have handled so many methods in event handler. One more centralized interface we have between event and event handler is event listener. I know these terms are new to you, but since we came across on this event, you can explore on it. I already shared the reference link on Mentor Notes channel. So I may have a button in HTML page. I may have an event handler method code in my JavaScript file. How this button click is gonna to bind with my event handler method so that the coding will be performed on my page with the help of centralized listener interface. So listener, as name deplicates, it is responsible to capture. I may have 3 radio button. So I have radio button 1, I have radio button 2, I have radio button 3. So for all the method, we have mentioned the method name as change theme. So if I click radio 1, the event listener will capture which control, which element the event has been triggered, and what action needs to be performed. Those are all you can handle with ID property. If it is radio 2, if it is happening with button, whereas here it is click event, whereas here we are discussing on checked event. So event listener or a centralized listener which will bind the respective event with the respective event handler so that the action is performed on my screen. So I want all of you to explore on event handler and centralized event listener. So I can say button clicked, radio button checked. No, many more are there. So each control is having some 4-5 events associated with that. The list is big. So slowly you will be getting into. So by default, certain event alone mostly associated with elements. So slowly by practice, you will come to know those step. What is that? Phase 1 of our event. So later working more on that, you will get into some 50% of events. So I may say on change. We may say check. We may say clicked. We may say mouse hover, and many more are there. So I cannot restrict that only on click is there for button. Checked is there for radio button. No. Each control is having not many, but few, some 4 or 5 events associated with that. So as of now, explore on 1 or 2 later. Depend upon the requirement, you can explore on all the events of the respective control. But go through these technical terms. Thanks, Shubham. Any questions? Just go through these technical terms, the 3 terms alone, so that you will get a clear picture. I know. So you may be getting into what is event and event handler, but you also needs to know what is event listener. Only with the help of this listener interface, the respective event is going to bind with the respective method. So even if you take this demo, we have on change theme. So on change is an event for radio button. So this gets associated with my scripting with the help of listener interface. All right. So if you want, you can take a break of 10 minutes and then continue exploring on this term, all the 3 terms, and continue doing it. Once if you have done, update the URL and go for pending sprints, or you can do self-reading on JavaScript topics which we covered so far. Thanks, Shubham. You can stop your screen share.
Recording stopped.
You read it if you have